lot longer than he was supposed to. And
here we go. We're going live.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jack Olmsted. I'm in Port Townsend, Washington. I'm talking to LeeAnne Walters, and you are in Virginia, right, LeeAnne?
Yes, right. Yep, right now I am.
Here you are, and what you're looking at is the timeline that was created for the Flint Water Crisis. And LeeAnne, you are interested in discussing PSI, the consulting firm that was hired by the city to do random test samplings of lead in residents' tap water. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So what are your concerns about this consulting firm?
Oh, I have many concerns about this. I want to know, why were they the ones chosen? Was there anybody else up for consideration? Who made the final decision to hire this company? Were they vetted before they hired this company? I mean, I know from doing quick Google searches that, their reputation is not stellar. So why would you hire a company that doesn't have a stellar reputation after everything you've already put the citizens through? And, they're saying they're going to test random homes. Why are homes with lead service lines not top priority for this test? Are they going to be testing by the lead and copper rule, or are they going to be testing by loopholes? What is the random testing going to do other than, not give us an accurate read of what's going on? I'm not saying people with who don't have lead service lines shouldn't be tested, but lead service lines should be top priority since they're the ones who made, the lead problem happen in the first place. Why wasn't it given to, a local college to do the study for it? Or back to Virginia Tech, why weren't they offered the opportunity and for the citizens to do what we've already done once for the city and, collect the samples, get the samples, and get these people tested? I know when we did our testing, it was $100 a test. And, they're going to pay these people up to $75,000 for 150 tests. We could do, 750 tests for that price. An extra 600 tests could be getting done for citizens. So these are all great, great concerns for me, and not just me. I'm sure it's other citizens as well. Other people I've talked to are, expressing the same things that I am about this, and it doesn't seem like we're getting any answers again.
Have you tried to talk to the mayor?
I've emailed the mayor. I'm waiting for a response back.
So when you said you did a Google search on this company, PSI, what did you find?
Different lawsuits against them. One of them was for falsifying information, another one for racketeering. There was quite a few different ones, and other citizens did research as well, and they had some of the other ones on their pages too. So why are these decisions being made without the citizens' involvement or the city council involvement? Why did it go around the city council? Isn't that what they're supposed to be there for?
So these are all questions that you're looking for answers. And
yes.
At this point, you don't have anybody supplying you with answers.
No. I talked to I talked to another citizen this morning, and we were discussing these concerns, and hopefully they're going to be mentioned into the city council meeting tonight. But it should, after everything that's happened, why would this be the path that you would choose? This is not building trust back up again.
And especially the mayor, when the mayor says that her administration is going to be about transparency. She was going to tell everybody what was going on, good, bad, or indifferent. She was going to lay all the cards on the table. And this is something which you feel needs to be as transparent as possible. And it's cloaked in secrecy. Yeah. The big thing is, why are they hired? And what are their qualifications? And if they have this track record, why hire them if they have a blemish against their reputation? That's right. Easily found.
Exactly. And, I'm sorry.
For falsifying information, I mean, that is the crux of why people are so angry, because the numbers were falsified, saying that the Flint water was safe, when actually it was not. They went through loopholes. All they were trying to do is get in compliance with the EPA's numbers, not focused on human health. I mean, they didn't check some schools because they were told, I mean, I guess you guys were told, the activists were told, we don't have to. We don't have to check schools.
Not just,
So they weren't.
it's not just that though, Jack. It's when they were doing, if you look at the FOIA information, originally they needed 100 samples. They didn't meet that goal. So then they messed around with changing that number real quick and in a hurry to be in compliance. When they didn't have enough samples, they had people from the water department supposedly randomly selecting places to go gather samples. And where they went and gathered from had new main and new service lines in that area. And then they falsified the information on that paperwork to say that all these people that they tested had lead service lines, when in fact they did not. So you're adding insult to injury here from where I'm standing and where from other citizens are standing by handling things the way it's being handled right now.
They seem to treat human health or public health as a liability.
And then, I was, reading an article online also about gasoline being up in Clarkston, Michigan, in the water, and how the MDEQ has given those people up there free bottles of water for all of their needs. And they're helping right the wrongs that they did in Clarkston, but they've done nothing for the citizens of Flint. No free water. No free water bottles, on a weekly basis. Yeah, they got some filters. That's for your kitchen tap. What about bathing in it, brushing your teeth? All these other things that you need to do. To me, it's just a big jumbled mess, and it needs to stop. They need to start being held accountable, and they need to start doing what's right by the citizens. They did this to the citizens. The citizens didn't do anything to them besides prove that they were lying.
I think one of my concerns, looking at it from the outside, not being in Flint, and covering some other stories, is they aren't tracking the deaths. They aren't tracking they have no death toll numbers. For 18 months, I guess for 20 months, they put in poison water into people's households and said that it was okay for them to drink. We know that lead creates stillborns, miscarriages.
Mm-hmm.
How many miscarriages are a result of lead over the last 20 months? We know that seniors are also at high risk. How many mothers and fathers died as a result of them drinking water from their taps when they said it was safe? There's no accountability for the death toll, and there is nobody talking about the death toll. And we're not talking about like last month when they decided, oh, we got a problem here, we're going to fix it, we're going to put phosphate into the water. We're talking about 20 months.
Right, I agree.
The hospitals are not screening for this. When there's a stillborn, when there's a miscarriage, they're not going in and saying, well, how much lead was in the body, and let's create a database. And that is deafening, because we know that lead kills. It kills people eventually, but for fetuses, for pregnant women, for children, they're most susceptible, as well as the seniors.
Right.
Where's the death toll? Where are the numbers? Where's the data? And it has been my opinion, my experience, that when governments, when agencies are look at the landscape, they will not collect the data. In fact, they forbid hospitals, they forbid people from collecting data. They did that in Oregon with pesticide drift. When there was a correlation between the spraying of forest and miscarriages within a community, their solution was stop counting the numbers, stop counting the babies, the dead babies. And so that became the law. And so for the last 20 years, they have not been collecting any data of stillborn deaths regarding pesticide spray. That's how they cover it up. They don't collect the data. Anyway, so you were going to say?
You made me lose my train of thought. I'm hoping that we, like I said, I emailed the mayor, and I'm hoping we get some answers here in the next couple of days to all of these questions. That's a huge thing for what they're doing right now. I mean, if they don't want Virginia Tech to do it, I don't understand why, because they've been so good to us so far, at least to the citizens. But the local colleges could do it. Wayne State is doing testing right now for the TTHMs. And I can tell you from a few of the results that we've seen for the first round of tests that they did, those are out of compliance still.
I'm going to share with you the Flint Water Study website. Do you see that on the page?
Yes, I do.
And it looks like Virginia Tech is working with high school classes in Flint.
That's awesome, because Mark's been trying to do that. He's been saying that since September.
And so they posted this morning, December 14th. You can see that. And they've got pictures of how these chemistry students, these chemistry classes are doing the work. Very detailed. Here they are. Actually, they're not high school students. It looks like they're elementary school students.
That's awesome.
So if you've got a nationally renowned Professor Plummer, as he's called, he's got all the experience. He's got students, and he's training students locally on how to do the work. Why not turn this into a community learning project so everybody's working together?
And see, that's what I don't understand, because one of the things like the city of Flint has said, and utility companies in general say, is that people won't cooperate, and that's not true. I mean, they gathered 69 samples or 71 samples in 6 months, and the citizens gathered 277 samples in 2.5 weeks. All you got to do is educate people, let them know why this is important, and they will help. And to get back to, I've got my train of thought back. With the adding of the phosphates, the question was posed in the meeting about the level that they're putting in there and what it means for the citizens who get the first draw water, the people closest to the water plant. What is that going to look like for them? And the response was, we don't know. We're going to have to look into that. We didn't take that into consideration.
These guys are the experts too, right?
How did you not take that into consideration when you decided to do this after everything that just happened?
It's crazy. It's still a crazy mess. I mean, we talked a couple of days ago. You were talking about the Y that they put in, the Y connection. I think they put into the plant.
Yes.
Where even when they do start drawing water from the KWA, they will be mixing it with Flint River water.
Yes. And then when I posed that to Jim Saigo in an email in November, he said that they had no knowledge of this, and that the DEQ would not support the blending of the water. But then there was an article from 2013 that says that that's exactly what they were planning on doing, and they just needed the DEQ approval. So I'm waiting response back from Mr. Saigo on what the update is and how they're moving forward with this.
I'm pulling up that article right now, using the timeline to get to the information very quickly. Right here, March the 25th, 2013. And they talk about it right here.
Right. And I know from
16 million gallons per day of raw sewage from the lake. And then they were going to mix it with 2 million gallons per day from the Flint River. I mean, this is what's in their plan.
Yep.
This is in their proposal, under the proposal. They haven't, as far as I can tell, they haven't changed their proposal.
I know Howard Croft confirmed it a few months ago that was the plan before the switch back to Detroit was, the Y was installed in the plant and that would be used to blend the waters together. And then the DEQ tells me, a week and a half ago, whatever it was, that they don't know anything about it and they would not support that. So yeah, those are people we should trust after
the whole reason why apparently they want to bring in water from the lake is so they can resell it.
Yep.
To other communities. And the lake will only give them 18 million gallons. So they had to make up the difference in order to get the quantity up so that they could sell it, so they could be profitable. They're trying to turn.
Not just other communities though, Jack. They're planning on selling the water off along the way. That's why it's coming in raw, 70 miles, which is not something that's done normally when you're dealing with water like that for a drinking source. So they can sell it off to farmers. This way it's untreated. So, like the sugar beet farms and stuff. Excuse me. That's part of the plan to make money off of it. Most places, like Detroit, for instance, when they pull off of Port Huron, it is treated at the source and then sent out to people. They're planning on bringing it in 70 miles untreated, treating it after it gets here, and then sending it out to the people, which, that is not how it is normally done.
And throughout the pipeline, there will be openings so that they can draw water off. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
To my I don't know if there's actual openings. I just know that the plan is to be selling water off as it's coming through. That's why it's not being treated at the source. That's why it's not being treated until it gets to Flint, is so that they can sell it off and make a profit.
There is a picture of the pipeline on the KWA website. Let me see if I can pull that up quickly. I cannot. Doesn't look like I can.
I don't, if they get the KWA online when they say they're going to get it online, I will be shocked. I don't think you're going to see usable water from KWA till between March and May of 2017. That's what I'm thinking right now. Even though they're saying it's 2016, I don't see it.
Why would you say that? Why don't you see it?
I just don't. They haven't been right about anything else, and they're going to have to test the KWA water before it can come through to the citizens. And if they're doing it from the articles that I was reading, the way they're talking about doing it, that water needs to be tested for 3 months before it can be given to the citizens. So if it's supposed to complete late to end of 2016, how are you giving it to the people then? You're not.
So they're going to continue to bring water in from Detroit.
Yes, they're going to have to.
Which means they're going to continue to spend more money for this, the short-term relationship with the Detroit water system.
Either that, or they're going to have to figure out how to duplicate what that water is going to look like after coming in 70 miles untreated and putting chemicals into it, and duplicate the process prior to the KWA being online. And I don't see that being cost effective. How do you duplicate 70 miles of water running untreated, treat it, and then see what that looks like for the citizens? I mean, I've done a little bit of research on my own on how, that could possibly be done. And none of those are things that financially the city of Flint can afford to do.
More questions than answers. Here it is. I knew I could find it. Here is the route map for the pipeline.
Is this one dated at all?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing a date.
Okay.
But here we can see this is where the water is coming in right here, the intake valve,
Yep.
which they spent $35 million for back in 2013. That's where they first got this thing going. I think it was 2013. $35 million just to build this area right here, the intake valve. So it goes along here, and I believe I remember seeing, yeah, here's a pump station, reservoir balancing tanks. So there are tanks right here in this area. So I think if they have tanks that they're going to use as an intermediary source, from that location, they'll be able to siphon water off. Right? Wouldn't that make sense?
That would make sense.
And I don't think there's any other takes along the way. And then it ends up.
What's this other orange one right here? Is that the treatment plant?
No, the treatment plant is right here. This is the Flint Water Treatment Plant. This is the GCDC water treatment plant. Is that the county treatment plant here?
I don't know.
What's the GCDC WWS water treatment plant?
I don't know.
So whatever this is, they can probably also draw water off from this point as well, this treatment plant. This purple line is the current Detroit water line. You can see that also goes to the lake right here. So anyway, yeah, so it looks like that is something that they have in the works, that they've got these 2 points where they can draw water off and sell it to farms as a way of making money. These orange areas. Looks like they've got that here in Detroit, on the Detroit line too. So anyway, we have 6 minutes. What would you like to talk about in 6 minutes? Well, what do you got going on this week? This is Monday. You've got a full week ahead of you. What's going on for you?
I'm just emailing and waiting for people to email me back. I mean, that's Right now, I'm just gathering information, doing some research, and just waiting for people to email me back on the things I've emailed on. I've not heard back from the DEQ. I've not heard back from the mayor. I've been in contact with Denise Fortin, who is the congressional liaison with the EPA, and we're having some technical issues with our attachments, so I'm working on that. And that's pretty much about it, besides talking to people and getting more information.
Have you heard anything about the Tech Advisory Committee?
No, I haven't heard anything recently. I know there was a meeting. There was supposed to be a meeting, and it was canceled. So I don't know what they're doing. Denise Fortin is the one that has me in contact with the task force that's working in Flint. So once we get the attachment thing figured out, I'll have a little bit more information on that and finding out if they've started the pipe looping to start testing the water for the phosphates to see what the best combination is, which I don't understand why they started adding phosphates already if that hasn't been done, because that was the safe way to do it for the citizens. So I'm a bit confused about that. And again, I can't answer anything at this point because it's all waiting for people to respond.
I'm going to be talking with Bob Bocox on Wednesday. Any questions that you would like posed to Bob? He was the scientist brought in February to evaluate the situation. He had a tour of the plant. He has extensive experience in this type of situation. Any questions for Bob?
Yeah, how did his meeting go with Kildee and after the NIDWAC in November?
How did the meeting go?
Yeah, they sat down with Congressman Kildee right after we got done at the National Drinking Water Advisory Committee up in DC. So just curious how that meeting went.
Wasn't he also at the EPA hearing?
No.
Erin Brockovich was at the hearing, wasn't she?
No.
No. Okay, I saw pictures. I thought they were, and I called his office. I was trying to get interviews, and I was told that he was in Washington, D.C. at that time, and I thought he was at the hearing. Okay.
No, I when I spoke to him on Facebook, I had mentioned that, there were still openings at that meeting, and, if they could make it in there to speak, that would be fantastic. But they had other meetings that they'd already had scheduled, previous appointments that they already had scheduled, so they couldn't make it into the NIDWAC.
What is going on with that? You talked in front of the hearing. Are they going to give you any kind of response?
They're going to adopt everything that we were fighting against, and pretty much what I said in my speech is what's going to happen if that's allowed to happen. If that actually does take place, we might as well tell people you are on your own. There are no laws for lead and copper. You're screwed. And I hate to be blunt, but it is what it is. So we're trying to figure out ways to get their attention for that not to happen.
Well, I think having a death toll of stillborns and seniors would be a way to keep their focus on what is actually going on. This is a killer. It's a killer for for those that are entering the world and exiting the world. It's not a good situation, and it's happening all over the country.
And it's unacceptable.
Well, it's not acceptable for, I guess, a modern society. I mean, if you think that the United States is, kind of modern, it's not a third world, first world. How can we just pretend like it doesn't exist?
That's the $1 million question. How did they pretend that this problem wasn't happening for as long as it was? And if it wasn't for the work that we did, they would still be sticking to their story on it that there was not a problem. So boggles the mind, doesn't it?
Well, it boggles the mind that you pay people to protect public health, and they don't. So what are they getting paid to do? I mean, that's the question. I mean, what are they doing if not protecting public health? They're taking the money and not doing the job. I mean, that's the thing that boggles the mind. You have people that you depend upon to do a job, and they don't do it. That's the mind-boggling thing. How can people get paid to do a job and they don't do the job? I mean, doesn't that boggle the mind?
Well, let's rephrase that to the majority don't do that. There still are the far and few in between that do what's right and do try to do their job to the best of their ability and to help people. And there needs to be more of those people.
Well, those people seem to be the worker bees, the people that get in, you know, because they want to instigate change. But the administrators, the people at the top, the political process, they're the ones that put a cap on it. They label these people whistleblowers. You know, they're rogue. They're rogue employees.
Sorry, I can't help but chuckle when you say that because of what they said about Miguel.
Well, you know, I talked to a guy who worked at the EPA for 25 years, Evan Vallenatos. He wrote a book, Poison Spring, and he came out, you know, madder than a hornet because of what he experienced in his 25 years. He was in Washington, D.C., and he sat there and he saw the paperwork going back and forth. And it was all at the expense of public health, and they supported industry and poisoning of populations over and over and over and over again, systematically, you know, putting band-aids on it. And you know, it's a travesty. It's not happen. This didn't just happen. This happened at the very beginning in 1970 when the EPA was created. And you can do some little research and you can find out that the EPA was created so that it would appease these environmentalists, and it would appear that government was you know, going to aid these environmental concerns. But what it actually was to do was to impede them and bring everything to a forefront and let industry and government have their way. It was created to do the actual opposite, not to protect, but to harm. Well, not to protect, but to focus on the profits of the industry. And it's crazy that it's been going on for all this time. Crazy. Anyway, I know it's 3 minutes past the time you've got to go and
yeah,
do your number one job.
Rambunctious children running in here any second. So
your number one job is a mom. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And I'll see you next time. All right.